system, fuck the system. Oh, well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't see you there. Okay, well, I've tried my hardest to refrain from covering certain subjects on my podcast just because I don't want any beef. I've already lost enough friends who I disagreed with in political views or the mandates that's going on. So that sucks. And while my conclusion was more like, okay, well, so we disagree. We can agree to disagree and we can still be cool. But their mentality, or I should say, her mentality was more like, no, you're wrong, you're stupid, and I can't deal with stupid people like you. So it's all good. Good riddance, right? And also, like, at first, I was like, you know what? Like, maybe I should stay silent. But then I'm like, fuck that. Like, I should exercise my freedom of speech. And right now is not the time to stay silent at all. That's what they want. Hence all the censorship that's going on. So people should be able to talk about how exactly they feel. Like, what are they so scared of? You know, like, if it's not true, then why are you censoring it? So I'm just saying that like people should be able to talk about this stuff and not worried about being canceled or anything like that. Just let people think for themselves. Damn. So I'm just saying that as long as the media continues to censor certain information that does not support their narrative, I'm going to keep talking my shit. I've done so in my social media platforms, and so I will actually take advantage of this platform to do the same. Okay, so let me fill you in on a little secret. I have actually never voted until last year. I know it's crazy. I've seen a few presidential elections, and while I was always this conspiracy theorist and anti-government, and believing that the system is rigged, well, I still think it's rigged, but it's like back then I was like, my vote isn't going to make a difference. But you know what? I think last year I reached a good level of maturity where I was like, you know what? Whether it is or not, I am still going to cast my vote. And I feel better doing so. I feel like I've participated. And that's all I will be promoting today is non-compliance, non-participation, and do take action in the areas that matter to you most. Now, even with all that said, I still think that at the end of the day, no matter what side of the coin we flip, we are going to get the same outcome. It doesn't matter what political party you stand with, it doesn't matter who is in office, because at the end of the day, I still think that they are the little puppets that are being played with, and they're playing us like pawns. They're only creating more division as if there wasn't enough already pre-pandemic times. Like we already have religions and race wars and like our class of like everything already has enough of that. So the fact that they're just like putting up against each other now and really separating us, the vax from non-vax, like it's so unfair. And so they know that if we band together, we are much stronger that way. So I'm just saying that if we never look past our differences, then we don't really stand a chance. But I'm optimistic, and I do believe in the American people. I believe in the world. And so, maybe not in America yet. We have seen these hardcore protests, but they have certainly been going on everywhere else. So, but okay, now moving on to our pre-Orwellian era episode. Doesn't have to be this way, you guys. Okay, so let me just shed a little light on something that perhaps you may or may not have noticed. But both presidents have done the same exact thing, except one is favored by the media, while the other one has been shamed and mocked for doing the exact same thing. What am I talking about? Okay, well, they both sold weapons to the Saudi Arabia military, except one, can you guess who it is? With his outspoken self, he said, well, if they don't buy it from us, they're going to get it from somewhere else, right? So we might as well just sell it to them and make some money. While Biden said that he was not going to take part in this transaction, that it's wrong and all this bullshit. And then what did he do? He turned around and did exactly that. He deceived us, everyone. You don't see that? You don't see the lies? And I mean, it's just like any other politician, really, where they say they're going to do one thing and then they just don't. They don't put any effort. Or it's, maybe it's not always entirely them, but then it's like everyone else in office. Like I said, there's more powerful force above them. And so they're like, nope, nope, not happening. And what can they do, right? That's what happened with that Ocasio chick. All these empty promises. Now, while I can totally see why people think that trap Trump lacks empathy, the fact that he's so blunt is actually to our advantage because we don't have to actually see whether he has ulterior motives or if he's being sneaky. Like, no, he tells you exactly how he feels. He's not sugarcoating anything. And so he's gonna express himself and just like put it all out there. Whereas Biden, again, has been deceitful. That's someone that we cannot trust because we don't actually know what his true intentions are. Another thing, okay, so these detention centers, I totally agree that they're inhumane, the way that they're being ran, and everything that entails that specific situation. But I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. This isn't a free for all. There still has to be some order, some structure to this country when it comes to immigration law. And Trump, again, he has fully expressed how he feels, calling Mexican people criminals and so forth. Not true. But, it's like, okay, he said all that. The point is that he wants order in making these laws. But Biden said it's technically illegal to cross the border, but if you do so, welcome. Now, if you don't smell communism in the air, I don't know what to tell you. And now, last but not least, while Trump loves to grab women by the pussy, Biden loves when little kids jump on his lap as he sniffs their hair. Too far? So that's what's going on in the world of politics today. Fact of the matter is that Biden should have never been in office. Look at all the chaos and destruction that is ongoing, and we still have another more, good while to go before he is boop kicked out. I already know who I'm voting for. Moving on. Let's talk about these billion-dollar companies that seem to have their sales skyrocketed, like Walmart, Amazon, McDonald's, and Chipotle. If they were already billionaires, if they were already stinking rich, that their wealth has just tripled into a ridiculous amount that like you can't even spend all that money in a lifetime. As some of you may or may not know, this pandemic has caused the biggest wealth transfer in history. Let me throw in another bomb for you guys. Did you know that these companies that I just named, their workers are the main ones who are living off government benefits, like food stamps and so forth? And instead of raising their wages, these motherfuckers had the audacity to encourage child labor. Like the age requirement, according to the Department of Labor, is 16. And so instead of them raising their wages to the existent workers, they said, hey, because they're all tied, they're all, like working together. So they're like, hey, we should recruit 14 and 15-year-olds. And I already know what some of you guys are going to say. It doesn't take much skill to flip burgers or ring people up. That's not the point. The point is that the cost of labor has not risen since 1980. That was something very alarming that I learned the other day, and so I was just like, oh my God, I gotta talk about it on my podcast. But seriously, like as inflation continues to prevail, doing what it does, we are only falling further and further behind. So, yeah, like the poverty is only increasing. I don't know who told you that it's decreasing because it's not. And sadly, the cause of poverty is so deeply rooted in the very structure of the system that it would basically take a reset in order for that to be destroyed completely and we create a whole new system. How do we do that? Change isn't impossible. It's certainly attainable, but it's going to take every single one of us to put our part. And it doesn't have to be in a forceful manner. I don't know who told you that it had to be like divide and conquer. That's the way that the dark forces do it. But what did Martin Luther King Jr. do? What did Gandhi, Rosa Parks, all these peaceful but historical figures have actually caused massive, colossal change by doing it in a peaceful manner. Not only that, but then they also had everyday citizens like you and us back them up. So it actually took a collective effort and the same like-minded mentality to, again, do this in a peaceful manner that actually created change. It took a shit ton of people to be non-compliant, to be non-participant of the matters that are going on, and to unite and say enough is enough. Let me tell you about the time that I was working at Walmart. I was 21 and I was pregnant. And I was working in the back room. I was in the inventory management team. And so it was like a lot of stocking and pulling and picking. And, if you guys are familiar with the warehouse, the way that a warehouse runs, that was my job. So here I am, like visibly pregnant, and I'm still climbing up ladders and pulling down TVs and operating heavy machinery and shit. 20 cents, I was getting 20 cents more than the cashiers in front, and I'm doing all this like warehouse stuff in the back. But anyway, so because my doctor did not specify like the amount of weight or something, like it was a very petty issue in the document, so I can be excused from, from doing all the heavy lifting and stuff because he did not place it properly. They forced me, like, they just completely disregarded the fact that I'm visibly pregnant. I was like 6 months by the time I ended up getting that document. And so they're like, yeah, it doesn't say that you can. So, and I was like, okay, fuck this. Fuck all y'all. I quit. Because thankfully I had the option to. I was just stacking up my money. I was just gonna work until the end of my pregnancy. But I was like, okay, I'm doing all this for my child, so I'm gonna end up losing my baby just for this bullshit. So luckily, my baby's father was making enough money where I happily quit, and I was like, all right, whatever. I just coasted through the last trimester of my pregnancy. But yeah, I can't imagine like fucking demonic forces like talk about inconsiderate, like true apathy right there. And one more thing that I want to mention before I let this go is cryptocurrency is actually the opposite effect of inflation. I'm gonna call it deflation because now I hardly understand. I'm trying so hard. I'm trying, finances isn't exactly my best friend, but the way this guy said it, a cryptocurrency expert, he says that with time, that the way that these blockchains are set up, the cost of living is actually going to decrease. So while inflation is only raising those prices, like he used a loaf of bread, for example, he says that like, that instead of like paying $5 for a loaf of bread, he said that with cryptocurrency, that's going to slowly start to decrease in the price. So I don't know. I thought that was very fascinating. And although I don't fully comprehend it, I have high hopes. It just feels right, especially because of the fact that it is not all in one central bank. This is actually totally in the people's hands. So I don't know if you were looking for a sign to jump on the cryptocurrency bandwagon, this is it. But okay, let's dive a little deeper into why these companies chose these specific locations. They seem to station themselves in low income neighborhoods. Why is that? Why is the South and West Side predominantly Black and Latino communities, low income? Why do they get the shit end of the stick? Why are these areas a food desert? Why do they lack nutritional resources so badly? And do not even get me started on the fact that nutrition deficiency plays a major role in mental health. I'm not even going to go there. But not only do these areas lack recreational activities and job opportunities other than fast food restaurants and liquor stores, and as if that wasn't enough stress already, there are these children that are growing up fatherless, and that's mainly due to the same system that incarcerated them, mostly drugs and guns related. That very same system is the one who distributed in the fucking streets. That gives us no hope for the youth. And to be quite frank, we were born into a system that has set us up for failure. But things don't always have to be this way. We don't have to play a victim. Playing a victim does not serve us. Yes, we do have to try a lot harder. There's going to be major struggle if we continue on the path of progression. If we were not born as a white privileged man, that has been proven to us recently over the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, right? But imagine if we all did our part, if we all took it upon ourselves and started creating these changes and started preaching this stuff to everyone else who doesn't even think this way. Who knows, you might just provoke a thought into them that makes them want to change their way of living. A little off topic here, but I just wanted to share this fun fact. According to the 2020 US Census Bureau, the number of mixed races that are non-Caucasian have officially outnumbered those of European descent. What does that mean? Is that like there's more mixed races than white people. So I don't know, pretty interesting, right? It's like, why were we ever the minority? So the change starts with each and every one of us, right? If we all do our part, like I just said. Okay, so let me give you an example. Knowing that the number one cause of greenhouse gases is, animal agriculture, I decided about 3 years ago now to stop eating meat. I don't buy meat for myself anymore here at home. And while I still eat it, it's only like those times that I dine out, and that is extremely limited. So that's how I'm doing my part. Not just that, I've become so passionate about being healthy that I am a certified health coach, and I did that so that way I can educate other people who are also wanting to reduce their meat intake. There's definitely a lot of people out there because that's why this whole veganism availability has like blossomed so beautifully, and it's because this is what people want. So these companies, if they want to continue making money, then they're going to give us what they want. It's just really like whatever is in popular demand. And again, when it comes to other matters, I'm not going to say they're more important, but just the stuff that's currently going on, mainly the mandates. It's like the less you comply, the less you cooperate and give them your money, attention, all of that, like the less powerful they become. You start to like decrease you're like feeding the beast, when you do this. So you just pull back. So if you don't want to be a slave to your phone, then you limit your phone use, like then you start to bring that awareness and say, hey, I do not want to stay stuck on my phone. I could be doing something else more productive. And so that's the way that you stop feeding that beast and so forth. I don't know. I have high hopes. I certainly think that the entire world is not going to get vaccinated because there are too many people. Who knows what the real figure is, because again, like the media is censoring a lot of those numbers. It's like it's not convenient for them to say the truth in that. So I don't think it's going to happen. It's yeah. I don't see it happening. Nah. Okay, well, I'm going to shut up now. That's all I had to say. I don't know. Just stay strong, guys, and stay free. As my boy Russell Brand says, much love and peace and avocado grease. Bye.